Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dawn from Glory Grace Farm, and I just thought I would check in and show some of the things that's been going on, explain why I've not made a video, and just let y'all see how the garden's going and some surprises that we've got. So first off, what I'm looking at here, let me go in closer, is some volunteer squash and watermelon, I think both, where we had them planted last year. Oops, my cord fell down. And I got photo bombers showing up because they always have to. But we had this is where we had our small garden at last year, right outside of the driveway. And that's what was planted here. And so they've volunteered. I almost stepped on them the other day. So now I've got these stones around them to try to protect them. I'm going to try to figure out another way to put around them and maybe put some mulch around them. Make them look cute. And this is where I planted some onions. And only one had actually sprouted. So, I'm still attached to its little cap. There we go. You're free. Yes, photo bomber Smokey. Yes, Mr. Lovebug. Mr. Lovebug. But I put a bunch in here, and they're not all sprouting yet, but I'm hoping they'll come along. This was something Blake wanted. We're not big onion eaters. Blake doesn't even eat onions except for a little bit on a burger maybe and everything, but he wanted to grow onions. So we're growing some onions. And I've got a bunch of stuff to clean up. I've been trying to figure out what I want to use that cardboard box for. These are some little pepper plants. I think they're jalapenos. And there's a little tomato plant in there. These were given to me by my grandmother. And she just pulled them up out of her little pot she had and gave them to my mom. And so Mom had to bring them, and I set them out. And then there's some little tomatoes. I don't even know. I think they're cherry tomatoes. I don't know if they're all the same. But they survived, and they're growing, so we'll take what we can get. And then over here, there's more weeds to pull. Volunteer trees are everywhere, but we've got the sweet potatoes. They're doing good. So I think I'm going to add some dirt. We're going to get some more dirt and see if we can mound it up and make them deeper and give them more space to grow in. These are all of our peppers that we've got in this little pool over here, and I've got more over in the actual garden, but they're doing really well. And I stuck a little broken piece of tomato plant in there, and it is actually putting out new growth. So I figure I can prune all that side stuff off and let that grow, and we'll have another tomato plant to grow for a while. There's this craziness of tomato plants over here. Yes, Cassie, I know. You love me too. That cherry tomato, I'm telling you what, it just took off. And it's just laying all over itself. Looks like a messy, crazy, I don't know what, bird's nest or something. No, I can't pick you up right now, Smokey. But they're putting on really good. It's keeping Mom up in tomatoes right now. And I just got 3 off of the regular tomatoes today. So I haven't been brave enough to yet try a tomato sandwich, but I need to, because that's the thing everybody's talking about, is making tomato sandwiches. I see you, Junebug, on my plant. Okay, let's go to the garden. Watch out, Smokey. I know you want lovin's. I don't know what has happened to my gooseberry other than ants, because ants absolutely love it. Smokey. And they will pick it clean. And all you can see, it was so beautiful when I first transplanted it here. It was doing amazing. And now it's very sad. That almost looks like apple tree leaves. That little sprout. That looks like poo, but it's not. It's those mushrooms that I showed here a while back, and what remains of them. A bunch of morning glories coming up around the dogwood, or not dogwood, apple tree. find my sand dogwood. It's actually looking like it's recovering from the blight some. It's putting on new growth. And so I'm going to prune it back and just let it fight its own battle for now. Hi, ducks. Time for a move. We're slowly moving them around this because they're going to end up in a round pen underneath that big tree so that they can have shade all day. Of course, we've still got our wood mulch. We've discovered an issue with the corn. It tastes wonderful. Nothing has thankfully come and tried to tear it down or anything, but you can see it's ready to harvest. But when we're harvesting it, it's not, from what I've seen other people talk about, it's not pollinating. And I guess I was hoping with the two stalks together that the pollination wouldn't be an issue, because I'm still learning, trying something different. And it's still edible, because like I said, this candy corn right here is delicious. Just raw, just straight off the cob. Don't even cook it. It is so good. And everything, but we're going to try to do a replant and see if we can get another crop in before winter, I believe. And everything, but it's beautiful. I mean, it turned out, it's growing, but some of it, seemed stunted and was having trouble and everything. But when you start opening it, the entire tip is not developed, so that you have to break the whole tip off. And the kernels are small. I don't know if candy corn kernels are small anyways, but I mean, it's still edible corn, so we're not going to waste it and everything. It's really good. We've only had one ear, I believe, of the peaches and cream. It was good, but I favor the candy corn. It was really, really good. The squashes are still trying. I think this is the one that I have. Yeah, I've got one coming on, and it's still putting out blooms. I thought it was going to kill over because of squash bugs, but they're fighting back, and the rain the last couple of days has really helped, because they were looking pretty sad. I finally came out and watered because they kept saying, it's going to rain, and guess what? It would go everywhere but here. We've actually had flooding in areas about 30 minutes away from us, and flood warnings and actual floods, and it's like we can't get anything. It just keeps pretending and then goes all the way around us. But the last 2 days we've gotten a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit. And then we've got our eggplants. These are the Rosa Bianca eggplants. They have been looking eat up like this the whole time, but they're growing. Yes, Smokey, I know. Go eat. But look, they're starting to flower. So, get off there, little ants. Smokey, no. I love you too. Not right now. Cats. He would be a fantastic indoor cat. But he's such a good hunter, I want to keep him outside. But, that one's kind of a puny one. That one's doing a little better. And the one on the end's kind of a puny, but they're still hanging on. They're growing, so hey. Then we've got our rescue tomato. One that was snipped off by a critter or a cat. And I found it laying. We transplanted it. No, honey, not right now. Doing good. This is the other transplant. This is the very first transplant, and you can see it's doing amazing. I've got it tied up. That whole side's finally falling over and trying to root. So I've got to get it propped up and tied up. I bought stakes, and that's what I've been doing here, but it's not really working once they're getting heavy with tomatoes, so I'm going to have to figure out something else, because I was really hoping $50 worth of these things was going to hold it, but I don't think they're going to pull it through. But we've got our peppers. They're doing great. Sorry about that. Starting to put on. coming in really good. The weed fabric's getting blown around. This one's still kind of puny, but I've got to weed. Oh, the reason it's looking as bad as it is, I was down all week last week. I had a bad headache. I get migraines from time to time, but I had a bad headache for 2 days. And then I had a toothache basically ever since, but really bad for 2 days. And so it's just been a struggle to be able to come out. When I get relief, I come out and I do what I can, because bending over with a toothache is a really bad thing. When all the blood rushes, would you please? Look there. Starting to come on. But as you can see, the tomatoes are really doing fantastic. They're doing just absolutely wonderful. So these are slowly catching up. I'm starting to, string them up so that they're propped up off the ground some. I got to finish tying these up. I started tying some up yesterday with a smaller string, this one here, but I'm afraid it'll cut into them, so I'm going to go get the clothesline that I've got up in the greenhouse and do the rest of them like that one and everything there, because I like the thicker cord. But we'll go over here, and you can see the corns trying to put on. And it's just these tiny little babies. So this is like totally stunted. I don't know if it's the heat. I've seen so many other channels talking about corn being stunted and not knowing what's going on. It's trying to make, so I'm just going to let it be and be thankful for what I get. There's my little watermelon. It's growing. Here's my 8 balls. At least it's supposed to be an 8-ball, but look, does that look like an 8-ball squash? Not according to my package, and not according to everybody else's 8 balls. But every one of them are variegated looking, and they're started finally putting on. They're doing good. We cut one because we did it according to the size that the 8-ball is supposed to be, and it tastes kind of like a plain, squash. Not a whole ton of flavor or anything till you cook it, but it is what it is. So Mom's gonna probably slice them up and freeze them, whatever they are. I'm gonna take you to my happy thing that just happened the other day. I bought a sorry about this. This is my compost pile and wood chips. So the other day I came out because we bought a honeydew, and it was one of the best honeydews we've bought. So I pulled the seeds out of it and everything, and I brought it out here and I dug a little trench and I threw those seeds down in the little trench, and now I have happy little honeydews growing. So Tyler will be thrilled. We may try freezing some if they continue to do well. I need to spread them out, but I'm afraid to mess with them. So I kind of just want to let them be and let the strongest ones win out and everything, since they've took off as well as they have. There's no more into that one. But they're doing really well. So, happy day. Okay. But yes, this is where I throw old eggs or really, really, really nasty eggs. I've still got somebody eating eggs, so I'm not hardly getting any right now. What they're laying are being eaten by somebody. So I got to figure that out and try to get that broken. Maybe have some chicken dinner, because I'm not happy with not getting eggs. But then there's the unhappy thing that's happening. But I've kind of resolved myself to it, and that God has other plans. So I'm going to spin you around, and I'm going to show you something. Can you see up on top of the hill? Yep, that's what you think it is, and it ain't mine. The people that bought the property finally started building their house. They put it in a bizarre place to me, but I don't know if they're going to do like a drive-through garage or what, but you know, when you have something in your head for so long of how you're going to build something, and then somebody else comes along and they're doing something that's like completely odd for where they've placed it, there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to accept it and believe that God's got other plans and that we're going to be Glory Grace Farm somewhere else, that it's not going to be on this land that was the land of my grandmother's childhood. It's not, you know, not going to be in this place because this isn't enough. Just 2.25 acres is not enough to do everything that we want to do. Yeah, I could maybe one day try to buy this back from the people who own it, but I really don't think that they'd be willing to sell. I just think they want to keep it for their family, and I totally understand that. I mean, if something happens and it's good and we can keep this place and go buy other land, you know, if something amazing, some kind of blessing happened, you better believe I would probably save this piece of land because it did belong to my family members and everything, and for generations that were here. So I'm gonna do my best to just obey the Lord and go with His guidance and His leading, and know that His dreams are bigger than my dreams for my farm and His farm, because it's going to be, you know, for His glory and for bringing our family more love and more joy and more peace than we've ever had in our lives and everything. Don't you knock over my basil there, Mr. Smokey. But we have been fighting the hornworms some. Not as terrible as you think with this many plants, but we have found them, and thankfully we find them pretty quick before they do much damage. We've had more problems with them probably up on the other 3 plants by the house than we have down here in the actual garden so far. I brought my light out. I brought my little, let's see here. I've got it in my bag right here. I bought these little black light flashlights off of Amazon. It was a 6-pack for $13.99, I believe. So they are bright enough to come out here after dark and, you know, shine it around and everything. And I came out the other night with them and thankfully didn't find anything. You know, you think, oh no, what am I going to find? But I didn't find anything. Does anybody else have like riding spiders galore this year? We have had so many riding spiders. There's been just 2 or 3 here in this garden area. One was in a bucket, and I've got one that's been building in my plants over here or somewhere on this side. And we've had them up around the house. And I'm not a big fan of spiders, but riding spiders are an amazing creation with the way they do things. But I saw one other person on YouTube showed a riding spider on one of their videos the other day. So I guess other people are getting them, but I've never seen this many. We normally have one that we see every year and everything, and that's it. But this year we've had several. And from what my son Blake says, he thinks the ones that we've had over here in the garden have been males because they're smaller. So I guess they're just waiting to find their forever. And then I think bad things happen to the boys. I don't know what's going on with this. I've had leaf curl issues on it. Now it's looking real pitiful. I mean, it's in the ground, it's rooted, it's been raining, it's putting out tomatoes, but then it just has these really pitiful looking, get my cutters, really pitiful looking little branches that are just getting so droopy. And take both of those. And I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, everything else is fantastic. This one on this side, beautiful. No weeping, no sadness, no curling, nothing. Go to this side, same thing. No droopy, no curling, no nothing. But this one is just like sad every time I come out here. Let me see if I can. Oh, it's got a fungus. Isn't that a fungus and not a that is my homestead. Yeah, that's a fungus and not a root. Like a root rot. Let's see if we can get that away. Sorry if that string cord was in the way. But it's the only one that's been doing that. So I don't know why it would have the fungus and nothing else does. So, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are doing good. Coming in. I don't know how well they're going to do, but hey, we're trying it. This was a rescue tomato. It's still not died, but it's not stood up yet, so I need to get a stick for it. More potatoes, and look at the pear, y'all. Little pear tree is just really, really taking off. I'm going to try to cut off some of the little side shoots because it's got like these little side shoot and then this big main and then some little side shoots. So I'm going to leave the big main and then take the side shoots and try to root them. See if I can get us some more pear trees. But I guess that's all for now. Just to catch up on the garden, let y'all know where I've been. Toothaches are just a horrible thing. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of these stakes that I've bought, and I've got deer netting, and I'm going to try to find something that I can attach to these step-in stakes to make them as close to the 7 foot of the deer netting that I bought as I can, and then we're going to make wraparound runs that we can move around the coop, because I'm just worried about trying to move it anymore. I don't want it twisting. It's really good. It's sturdy. I kind of like it right next to the garden. That way when I pull out the prunings or find some worms or grubs, I can just take them and give them to the girls and Mr. Chanticleer, and they're happy. So I just gave them some, I want to say it's clabbered milk, but it was bizarre because it tasted fine. I know that's weird to say you tasted it, but we thought it may have just been frozen, because at times stuff will freeze in my refrigerator if it's in a certain place on the top shelf. But it wasn't. It tasted okay. It was just clabbered, like it had actually started separating from the whey. And so we didn't know why I had done it. That's why I want a fresh cow that I can just get fresh milk from and everything. That way when you need it, you have it. But we brought it out. I mixed it up with their chicken feed today, and they had a big time. It was a happy day for the chicks getting that. milk, and I had tried making biscuit gravy out of it, and that's when we realized something was wrong with it. And it wasn't quite right. So that's the garden. That's the way it's growing right now. I mean, look at that. That one's just loaded up. Oh, I've got one that I know is a cat face. I think I saw another one the other day. But look at this thing. It is going to be, oops, leaves. It's going to be a funny looking tomato. So I'm leaving it. I want to see what it becomes. I don't know how many blossoms. It's all crammed together. But it's doing really well. But look at this one. This is just like putting out. And they're the prettiest looking little tomatoes. They're just almost white. This one's the money maker. And I'm telling you what, it's just putting them out in little clusters all over the place. So I'm tickled about that. That's another money maker. See, that looks completely different. No, this is the mortgage lifter. This is the bigger one, sorry. So, they're doing good. That's what this one is well as a mortgage lifters. And then I've got my San Marzanos over here. And I'm so happy about them because they are going to be going in the freezer and then possibly trying our hand at canning some sauce so it'll be ready to go when we want it. But y'all, pretty tomatoes. So, I mean, we're just going as we go, and slowly things are turning. And well, I got a couple of little cherry tomatoes off the cherry tomato plant down the row here yesterday, so before long we'll start being able to have hopefully the production we're looking for to start taking to the food bank and helping out some sweet ladies that are around our area. So we will see y'all later. Y'all have a good weekend. Pray the Lord blesses you with His glory, His grace, and His favor. See ya. This is Dawn from Glory Grace Farm.